First of all, we want to have a comparison of 3 running styles, which is forefoot running, rear foot running, and midfoot running. This is a rear foot striker. Those are pictures from my laboratory where I do these motion analysis of runners, and this is a rear foot striker. But as we see this video go by, we cannot do an analysis looking at that. We need 4 pictures to get the hard facts. The first is the landing, the first point when the foot touches the ground. When the foot touches the ground, we got the rear foot landing here, and he's landing in front of his center of mass. This gives him a kind of deceleration at that point of time. And it gives him a high impact because he's running with his heel first. This is not a problem at this point of time, but later on, when we come to mid-stance, what is mid-stance? Mid-stance is when your ankle is underneath your hip joint. At that point of time, he bends his knee very much, and the bending of the knee gives high impact load on the patella. And this is why a lot of heel strikers have problems with patellar tendon and schon patina. In the push-off, this is no real push-off. All the professional runners will shiver as they see this because he's not able to extend his leg. And he's a poor lift of the shank, which means his heel is not lifted enough in the swing phase. So this is poor running style. And people running like that easily suffer from knee pain. Let's have a look at the midfoot striker. This midfoot striker has learned running in one of my clinics, and she's not running fast here. She's only going 10 kilometers per hour, not really fast. But if we have a look at that in this 4-point analysis, we see pretty different pictures. When she lands, we got a vertical lower leg, we got the foot touching the ground flatly. In stance, in the mid stance, we got a good extension of the knee, which saves the knee from hurting. In the push off, we got an extension of the leg, which is good for a higher speed. And in the swing phase, we see the shank parallel to the ground. That's what I like. You can learn that later on at 3 p.m. What is real natural running? All the people say midfoot strike is natural running. Natural running for me personally is to run on soft natural surfaces. I would never ever do natural running without shoes on surfaces we got through civilization, like concrete or asphalt. Natural running means soft natural surfaces. Barefoot, running barefoot on this surface, and you can do it there, but only there. And an athletic body and an athletic feet, because if you're obese, have flat feet, weak feet, you live in Berlin Central, where can you do this real natural running? You won't be able to do that. This is a forefoot strike, and I haven't got this runner in the 4-point analysis because I wanted to show you somebody doing sprints. Is it sprinting or is it dash to run really fast for 100 meters? Sprinting? Yeah. You understand me? Fine. She's got an expensive stride. She, so to say, she grabs with her feet to move forward. This is only when sprinting and doing this forefoot strike. She's got a perfect knee extension, which is very usual for a forefoot striker. In the push-off, we get the perfect extension and a high lift of the shank. This is forefoot striking. Can be useful in medicine for people with knee problems. I sometimes use it as a treatment for patients with knee problems to shift from rear foot strike to midfoot or forefoot strike. But it can harm your Achilles tendon. So you always have to see what problem you have and what's suitable for the runner. So to put the advantages and disadvantages together, for the running styles we got forefoot, and the advantages is perfect impact absorption, because you all know this, when I'm jumping like that, it's something different to jumping like that. So we got the perfect impact absorption running on the forefoot. We got no overpronation. Do you know why? Pardon? Yes, but you could have overpronation. The thing is, when you touch the ground first with your forefoot, your calf muscles are under high tension. This is why a lot of forefoot runners suffer from calf muscle soreness. These calf muscles are those muscles that save you from overpronation, because they are all supinating the foot. So you got tension on the muscles that supinate the foot. So you got no overpronation problem when you run on your forefoot. And you haven't got the deceleration that the rear foot striker has. The rear foot striker has one advantage: it's easy to learn, everybody can do it, and it's suitable for a low fitness level. And we are in Germany. Germany is the country in Europe with the most obese people. 60% of the adults in Germany, the male adults, are obese. 60%. We are leading. If these people want to run, they cannot do forefoot strike. They cannot put so much effort in running with their calf muscles to carry the weight. So that's why those people will always do rear foot running, because it's suitable for the low fitness level. This is also true for the midfoot strike, and this is also true a little bit for the midfoot strike. So this is kind of a good compromise, and that's why when people ask me how shall I run, and that's what people ask me, I always say try the midfoot strike. Don't be too extreme. Extremes are never good for people. Let's talk about the disadvantages. It is that heel spur and Achilles tendinitis occur more often when you investigate forefoot runners. But it's not that every Achilles tendinitis you see is from the forefoot runner. But it's a little bit more than when you consider the other running styles. It has to be learned for most people, unless they cannot run barefoot on grass. If you can run barefoot on grass, you can easily do forefoot running, but try barefoot running in Berlin Central. It's uneconomic on long distances, that's another problem. And if we consider this rear foot running, we got a lot of overuse injuries for the knee joint. That's a problem for the rear foot striker. And we also got Achilles tendinitis for the rear foot runner, because it's not, when you touch the ground with your rear foot, next thing happening is the forefoot is going down, and then we have no tension on the Achilles tendon, and then the rear foot can do this overpronation stuff, and then we get problems with the Achilles tendon as well. So it's too little tension for the rear foot runner, and it's too high tension for the forefoot runner. That's why I tend to the midfoot running concerning the disadvantages as well. We can prevent these disadvantages a little bit when we tend to the midfoot strike. I forgot one thing, this anterior shin splints, when it hurts here, you only see it at rear foot strikers. You never ever have that problem with forefoot and midfoot strikers. So when a patient turns up in my practice with anterior shin splints as a rear foot striker, I always do a running clinic with them. So running shoes, cushioning and stability. I tried running without cushioning when I was 20 years old. I went to some orthopedic specialist building shoes and told him, here, take my old running shoe, rip the sole off, and just give me 5 millimeters of Vibram. I want to run without cushioning. I just wanted to test that. You couldn't have those shoes that days. And I was running in the woods, and it was great, because I could feel the ground. Running in the woods was great with it. And then I started running on concrete with it. And I did a lot of barefoot training that time, and I had good feet and good calf muscles. But my calves exploded after 3K on concrete with such a shoe. You cannot do running on concrete without a proper shoe, and you need the protection because it's much too rough. So protection is a necessity. And asphalt is not only rough, it's rock hard. We can test that in our running field if you want to, but I'm sure you all know. We need that running on these rock hard surfaces that does not necessarily lead to osteochondrosis. There has been a lot of research concerning that topic, but it's unbearable for the vast majority of the runners to run on this rock hard surface without proper cushioning. But feet move individually, and shoes have to be fitted to the personal stride. And of course, there is overpronation, and overpronation causes problems. It can cause, it does not necessarily do that, but it can cause Achilles tendinitis, it can cause shin splints, sore knees. But, and this is complicated for the retailers, we have another way of running with this, which is the opposite one, which is supination, causing similar problems like Achilles tendinitis and shin splints. So you cannot say, okay, because of this injury, he must have this way of running. You cannot do that. Let's now come to the natural running confusion. There are questions turning up, and when journalists give me a ring and ask me some questions for their magazines, it's often questions like that. Must we run barefoot now? Is it better for us to run barefoot? There have been studies that running in shoes is not healthy. Must we run barefoot? All I can say is you should run barefoot a little bit. I did my exercise this morning at 7 a.m. and we had 1 hour of exercises, and we ran through the Tiergarten here in Berlin and had some running and some push-ups, and then we went on grass barefoot for 10 minutes. Some exercises barefoot, then we put on our shoes again and continued running. So it's not a necessity to run barefoot, but I can only recommend to try it a little bit. When you are at the beach, do 10 minutes. When you have a sports ground or a soccer field where you can do some barefoot running, do it for 10 minutes after your workout. But you really needn't run 20K barefoot on concrete. Why should you do that? Are stability devices useless? We got a decline in the market share of the stability devices. Do you know what the stability device, how often we used that 20 years ago? What was the market share of stability devices 20 years ago? Can you estimate that?
50%? More than 50%?
No, much more. It was around 80 or 90% shoes with stability devices. And it came down and down and down, trickled down to 40–50% at the moment. And that leads to the question, don't we need that at all? Because now we do natural running, we got that decline of the stability devices, don't we need that anymore? But this is another picture from my praxis, and you can see severe knock knees here. She's running like that. And if you're running like that with these knock knees, you've got more pressure on the medial side, on the inner side of the foot. And if you take a look at the foot, you see this severe overpronation. And if you have severe overpronation in the foot and you get knock knees, you need medial support. What shall I do? Shall I tell this patient to run barefoot on concrete? I cannot do that. Is cushioning useless? We talked about that. Of course it is not. As long as we run on concrete, and this is a reality for most of my patients, they live in the cities, they run on concrete, they need cushioned shoes. Cushioning is not useless. Stability devices are not useless. But it does not mean that everybody needs it. You only need it to a certain extent, which makes it more complicated for the retailer again. The wide range of natural shoes we got at the moment is very complicated as well. I put up a scale here, and this scale starts at 1, which means nearly barefoot. And it ends up at 10, which means running in a shoe we all know, like a normal training shoe. And we got these aggressive shoes on the left-hand side with zero heel drop. These shoes are extremely flexible, have extremely thin soles, midsoles that are extremely thin, like 5-finger stuff, you all know that. And I would say these shoes are really risky. They are risky because if you start running in these shoes without having trained your calf muscles and didn't start gently, you get into serious problems. And I have these people in my practice. Oh, I read a magazine and it said forefoot running is perfect for me, and I bought a shoe, I bought some 5 fingers, and now I ran my 10K round, and now my Achilles tendon hurts. So these shoes are risky and should only be used by really experienced runners without any problems. There are these advanced shoes, I call them advanced shoes, like the shoes I'm wearing at the moment, with a 6 millimeters heel drop, which is half of the normal heel drop you have in a normal training shoe. That's why it's positioned in the middle. And these shoes are very flexible due to flex grooves, and they are for experienced runners. And I always say, when we lower the heel down to 6 millimeters, it's comfortable, and it's for me as a medical doctor, it's usable, especially when people have knee problems. But if we go lower than 6 or 4 millimeters, then we get to the danger zone. So we are still comfortable with this, but going lower is complicated sometimes and can lead to injury. And we got the moderate shoes with a 10 millimeter heel drop that are more flexible than the normal training shoe. And we got no negative side effects. And I talked about these 10, 15 or 20 million runners in Germany. I don't know if it's 10 or 15 or 20. Every survey tells me something else. But let's say it's 15 million runners in Germany. How many of them do competitive running and take part in half marathons and marathon races? Can you estimate that? 10%? 2%? That means calculating for me. Not that bad. That would mean 300,000. And it's only 200,000 of these 15 million runners. Most people estimate it's 3 million or 5 million, but it's far not that much. So it's only 200,000 runners that do a competitive sport. The normal runner just wants to hit his 5K after work run or the 10K after work run on Thursday evening. And he's not thinking about competition. He's not thinking about risky shoes. He does not want all that. But he wants a comfort stride, comfort running. He doesn't want to have injuries, of course. And that's why this part is important and this part is important. I don't care about this part. I only care about that part for people that want to have some training for their feet, like 15 minutes on grass. They can use these shoes in winter, but that's it. Of course, we got an overlap with well-known shoes like the racing flats. These really thin shoes, but these shoes are so thin you don't get any guidance and they're not comfortable. But it's a kind of overlap because they are flat too. That's why racing flats are called racing flats, because it's flat shoes. And we got the light trainers on the right side, which are a little bit lower in the heel than normal shoes. And we know these shoes will pretty well, but they don't have so deep flex grooves. So there are some, they are different to the natural shoes, but it's again confusing for the retailer sometimes. So we always have to improve, and we always have to adapt to trends. Asics has to do that, I have to do that for my patients, I need to know what's going on. But we really mustn't forget the customer's needs and problems. So how can we do natural running right? First of all, we need to find the right shoe. We talked about that extensively. You need a shoe with the right heel drop, with the right thickness of the sole, and you find out with a good retailer that gives you good advice. You should really, please train your calf muscles before you start with a natural running stride. You need strong calf muscles to carry your body weight, to keep your feet aligned, because you need these calf muscles to prevent overpronation. You need it to carry your body weight, so do some calf muscle training like this eccentric workout you can see here. We'll do something of that in the running clinic later on. And please start gently. Starting gently means 10 minutes is enough. And what I always tell my patients is, do your normal running. Do your 10K run, do your 15K run, but take off a bit, maybe 1K or 2K, and use a running track that crosses a soccer field. Put off your shoes, do 10 minutes of barefoot running, and then go on and go back home, take a shower. So that they can put that into their normal training routine, and not starting barefoot at home or with an aggressive shoe and doing 10K with those shoes and being injured 2 weeks later. So just start gently, just do a little bit of 10K of barefoot running, or take a moderate shoe, use it once a week, that's enough. And when you use it once a week, it's not the 20K, it's a 5K run you use it for. Always use that natural shoe as a second pair of shoes. When I do the reports in my praxis, I always have to recommend shoes, and I do the recommendation. I say, do you need do you need cushioning? Do you need a thick sole? Do you need a stability device? Do you need a low heel or a high heel? I have to tell all this. But after that, I always give the recommendation for a pair of natural shoes that should be used once a week, only once a week. And depending on what the problem is, it's a natural shoe with a high heel or with a low heel.